Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Easy English Spark Channel. I'm thrilled to have you here with us today. Whether you're joining us from the comfort of your own home or anywhere else, I hope you're feeling great and ready to dive deep into something truly valuable: how to master your English listening and speaking skills. Through the 10 chapters we've covered, we've explored everything from grammar fundamentals to applying it in real conversations. Now, it's time to take your confidence to the next level, refine your skills, and speak more fluently than ever before. Let's get started and light up your English journey right here at Easy English Spark. Chapter 1: The Foundation of Grammar. Hello and welcome. I'm Selena, and today we're going to start an exciting journey into the world of grammar. I know. It might not sound as fun as playing a video game or watching a movie, but trust me, learning grammar is like building a solid foundation for your English skills. Once you understand it, everything else becomes so much easier. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever tried to say something in English, but the words just didn't come out right? Maybe you were speaking to a friend or writing a message, and your thoughts felt a little messy? That's where grammar comes in. Grammar is what helps you organize your thoughts and ideas, giving them structure. It's like the rules of a game. When you know the rules, you can play the game confidently without worrying about making mistakes. Grammar is the foundation of every language, and English is no exception. Imagine if we didn't have grammar. Our sentences would be like a jumbled puzzle, with all the pieces mixed up. Nobody would understand what we were trying to say, and communication would be chaos. That's why grammar is so important. It allows us to communicate clearly and effectively, whether we're speaking or writing. Now, I know that grammar might sound like a bunch of rules that you need to memorize. And I won't lie, there are some rules to learn. But here's the good news. Grammar doesn't have to be boring or difficult. With the right approach, learning grammar can actually be fun and easy. You just need to take it step by step, and that's exactly what we're going to do in this chapter. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is grammar? What is grammar? Grammar is a set of rules that tell us how to arrange words in a sentence so they make sense. It's like building a house. When you build a house, you need a strong structure to make sure the walls don't collapse and everything stays in place. Grammar provides that structure for your sentences. Without it, your ideas might get lost or misunderstood. Take this example. The cat is on the mat. We all understand this sentence, right? The words are in the right order and it's clear what's happening. But let's say we mix up the words. Mat on cat the is. Now that doesn't make any sense, does it? It sounds completely wrong. This shows us how grammar helps us organize words in a way that makes them clear and easy to understand. Grammar helps us create sentences that are logical and understandable. So, whether you're writing a story, sending an email, or just chatting with a friend, understanding grammar ensures that people will understand what you mean. Without grammar, our sentences would just be a random collection of words that don't convey meaning. Why grammar matters in learning English. Now, you might be wondering, why is grammar so important, especially when I'm just trying to learn to speak English? Well, let me tell you. Grammar is what makes language logical. It's what helps you form sentences that people can understand. Think about it. When you speak or write, you want to be understood, right? Let's imagine you're having a conversation in English and you don't use the correct grammar. Maybe you forget to add an S to a verb when talking about something in the present, or maybe you mix up your tenses. The person you're speaking to might not know exactly what you're trying to say, and that can cause confusion. But when you use good grammar, your communication becomes smooth and clear. People will understand you better, and that will give you more confidence when you speak or write in English. As Richard Senevic Trench, a famous linguist, once said, "Grammar is the logic of speech." This means that grammar helps our words make sense, just like logic helps our thoughts make sense. So, by mastering grammar, you're not just learning how to use words. You're learning how to communicate your thoughts in a way that others can understand easily. How to learn grammar. Now, you might be asking, how do I actually learn grammar? Don't worry, I've got you covered. The first step is to start with the basics. Focus on learning the sentence structure, the order of words in a sentence. Understanding sentence structure is key because it tells you how to arrange the words in a way that makes sense. For example, in a simple sentence, you need a subject, the person or thing the sentence is about, a verb, the action, and an object, the thing the action is happening to. A basic sentence could look like this. I eat an apple. I is the subject, eat is the verb, and apple is the object. Simple, right? After you've got sentence structure down, you can start learning about the different parts of speech, nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and more. These are the building blocks of language, and once you understand how to use them, you'll be able to create more complex and interesting sentences. One great way to learn grammar is through a technique called shadowing. This means listening to someone speak in English, like in my videos or other resources you might find online, and then repeating what they say. As you repeat the sentences, pay close attention to how the grammar is used. Try to copy the sentence, structure, and word choice. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel, and before you know it, grammar will start to feel like second nature. Why you should keep going. Learning grammar can sometimes feel overwhelming, especially when you're just starting out. But I promise, with every new sentence you form, you'll feel more confident. It's like riding a bike. At first, it's a little wobbly and awkward, but once you get the hang of it, you're off and running. As you practice grammar, you'll gradually see improvements in your speaking and writing. And the best part? It's a journey that never ends. The more you learn, the more you can express yourself clearly and confidently. With every step you take, you'll get closer to speaking and writing English like a pro. Chapter 2. What is grammar? Welcome back. I'm Selena, and today we're going to explore one of the most essential aspects of learning any language: grammar. If you've ever felt confused by how to build sentences or weren't sure if you were using the right words in the right order, this chapter is for you. We're going to break down exactly what grammar is and why it's so important for your English learning journey. So, let's start from the very beginning. What is grammar? Understanding grammar. In the simplest terms, grammar is the set of rules that helps us arrange words and phrases in a way that makes sense. It's the structure behind how we use words to communicate ideas clearly and effectively. Imagine grammar as the framework of a house. Without the proper framework, the house wouldn't stand, and neither would a sentence without grammar. When we use grammar, we are ensuring that our sentences are well organized and logical. Without it, we would be left with a jumble of words that nobody could understand. Think about how different the following two sentences are. The dog chased the cat. Chased cat, the dog, the. The first sentence is clear and easy to understand. The second one is all mixed up and doesn't make sense at all. Grammar is what gives us the rules for arranging these words in a way that makes sense to others. Why does grammar matter? You might be wondering why we even need to focus on grammar when learning English. After all, we can often understand people even if their grammar isn't perfect, right? That may be true in casual conversations, but if you want to speak or write clearly and accurately, grammar is essential. It's the tool that helps you express yourself without confusion. Think of grammar as a set of guidelines or the rules of the road for language. When you follow these rules, you can avoid misunderstandings. Let's imagine you're telling a story to someone. If you use the wrong word order or mix up your tenses, your listener might not understand when the events took place or what exactly happened. Grammar is there to prevent that. For example, imagine telling someone, "I ate breakfast at 7 a.m. yesterday." But if you said, "I breakfast ate 7 a.m. yesterday," your listener might get confused. Grammar helps us express ideas in a logical sequence so they make sense. How does grammar work? To understand how grammar works, we need to take a closer look at the basic building blocks of a sentence. Words. Words are the smallest units of meaning in a sentence, but on their own, they're not enough to convey complex ideas. Grammar is What brings those words together in a way that communicates our intended meaning? In English, there are several different categories of words that play specific roles in a sentence. These are known as the parts of speech, and they include nouns, the names of people, places, things, or ideas. Verbs, action words, showing what's happening. Adjectives, words that describe nouns. Adverbs, words that describe verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. Pronouns, words that replace nouns. Prepositions, words that show relationships between other words. Conjunctions, words that connect sentences or clauses. Interjections, short words that express strong emotions. Each of these parts of speech has a specific function in a sentence, and grammar tells us how to use them properly. For instance, in the sentence, "The cat sleeps on the mat," the word cat is a noun, sleeps is a verb, and on is a preposition. Each part of the sentence works together to convey a clear idea. Without grammar, we wouldn't know where to put each word, and the sentence wouldn't make sense. Grammar and word order. One of the most important aspects of grammar is word order. In English, the order in which we place words in a sentence affects its meaning. A basic sentence in English typically follows this structure: subject plus verb plus object. For example, subject, I verb, eat, object, an apple. The sentence is, I eat an apple. This order is what makes the sentence clear and easy to understand. But what if we change the order? Imagine we said object plus subject plus verb, apple eat I. That doesn't make sense at all, right? Grammar teaches us the right word order to communicate our ideas effectively. Grammar and meaning. Grammar also helps us communicate meaning in a more precise way. Let's look at an example. I was eating, I eat, I will eat. These sentences all have the same subject, I, and verb, eat. But the different tenses and structures give us different meanings. In the first sentence, we know that the action was happening in the past. In the second, it's something happening in the present. In the third, it's a future event. Grammar helps us understand when something is happening and how it relates to other events. The importance of correct grammar. If grammar is so important, why does it matter whether your sentences are perfectly formed? Well, while casual conversations can be more forgiving, grammar helps ensure that people will understand exactly what you're trying to say, especially in formal writing or speeches. It makes communication more efficient and avoids ambiguity. 4. Instance, look at this sentence. Let's eat, Grandma. If you remove the comma, it becomes, let's eat, Grandma. The first sentence invites Grandma to eat, while the second one suggests that grandma is the food. Grammar helps us avoid these kinds of misunderstandings, ensuring that our words are clear and our meaning is correct. How grammar makes communication clear. Think about all the times you've heard a sentence and understood it instantly without having to think about it too much. That's the magic of grammar. When you follow the rules of grammar, your sentences will flow naturally, and others will be able to follow your thoughts without difficulty. If you use proper grammar, it doesn't just make your message clearer. It also makes your writing and speaking more confident and effective. It's like following a map. Grammar gives you a clear route to expressing your ideas in a way that others can easily follow. How to start learning grammar. So now that we know what grammar is and why it matters, how do we start learning it? Step 1. Start with sentence structure. Learn how sentences are formed, beginning with basic subject-verb-object order. Once you're comfortable with that, you can start building more complex sentences. Step 2. Focus on parts of speech. Understanding nouns, verbs, adjectives, and other parts of speech will help you know how to use words correctly in sentences. Step 3. Practice regularly. The more you practice, the more familiar grammar will become. It's like learning to play an instrument. The more you practice, the more comfortable and natural it will feel. Don't be afraid to make mistakes along the way. Grammar can be tricky at times, but remember, the more you learn, the better you'll get at using it in your everyday life. Final thoughts. Grammar is not something to be afraid of. It's the key that unlocks your ability to communicate clearly and effectively in English. It's a tool that helps you organize your thoughts, express your ideas, and be understood. By understanding grammar, you're setting yourself up for success, whether you're speaking, writing, or even just having a casual conversation with a friend. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into the different parts of speech and learn how each of them contributes to building strong, clear sentences. But for now, keep practicing the basics and remember, grammar is your guide to becoming a confident English speaker. Keep going. You're doing great. Chapter 3. Why Grammar Matters in English. Hello again. It's Selena, and I'm so excited to continue our journey together as we dive deeper into the world of English grammar. In this chapter, we'll explore why grammar matters, why it's such a crucial part of learning English and how it shapes the way we communicate. We all know that language is powerful, right? It's how we connect with others, share our thoughts, tell stories, ask questions, and even express our emotions. But in order for language to work effectively, we need to follow certain rules. That's where grammar comes in. Grammar is the system that structures language and makes sure that everything fits together in a way that makes sense. Without grammar, we wouldn't be able to communicate clearly, and here's why. Grammar provides structure for communication. Think about this for a second. How do you know what a sentence means? Why do you understand the difference between the sentences, "She is reading a book," and "Reading book is she"? The difference is the structure of the sentence, the way the words are arranged. Grammar provides the rules for this structure, ensuring that your words are in the right order and your meaning is clear. In English, the basic structure of a sentence is subject plus verb plus object. So when you say, "I eat an apple," you know that the subject, I, is performing an action, eat, and the object, apple, is receiving that action. If you mix this structure up, the meaning of your sentence could change, and in some cases, it could become impossible to understand. Imagine if someone said, "Eat I applein." You would probably be left thinking, "Wait, what does that mean?" Grammar ensures that the words are put in a way that makes sense to everyone. Grammar makes your communication clearer. Have you ever tried to explain something, but you felt like the other person just didn't get it? That's where grammar plays a big role. Without good grammar, your sentences might be unclear, and people could misunderstand what you're trying to say. For example, look at the sentence, "I'm going to the store." It's clear and direct. But what if you said, "Store the going"? "I am too." You'd confuse your listener or reader because the grammar is incorrect, and they wouldn't be able to make sense of what you're saying. By following grammar rules, you give your ideas a clear path to follow. It's like following a map. If you take the wrong turn or miss a step, you end up lost. But when you stick to the right grammar, you get to your destination. Clear communication. Grammar helps you be understood. Good grammar doesn't just help you make sense. It also helps you be understood by others. Think about how confusing it would be to listen to someone speak without using proper grammar. Imagine hearing someone say, "Tomorrow I go work," or "She not like coffee." These sentences aren't grammatically correct, and the person listening might have to stop and ask for clarification. They might even misunderstand you completely. On the other hand, if you use correct grammar, your sentences will be easy to follow, and the person you're speaking to won't have to second-guess your meaning. For example, "Tomorrow I will go to work," and "She doesn't like coffee" are grammatically correct, and they clearly express the idea without confusion. Using grammar correctly helps you avoid miscommunication. It ensures that you and your listener are on the same page, and there's no guesswork involved. Grammar helps express different tenses and times. One of the most important things grammar allows us to do is express when things happen. Tenses like the past, present, and future, tell us when actions occur. Grammar allows us to show these time frames in our sentences. For example, present tense. I eat breakfast every morning. The action happens regularly in the present. Past tense. I ate breakfast at 7 a.m. yesterday. The action is finished and happened in the past. Future tense. I will eat breakfast at 8 a.m. tomorrow. The action will happen in the future. Imagine if we didn't have tenses or proper grammar to convey time. You might say, I eat breakfast at 7 a.m. yesterday. That sentence would be confusing because it mixes up the present and the past. Correct grammar helps us use the right tense at the right time, which makes it clear when something happened. This is especially important when you're telling stories or explaining things that have happened, are happening, or will happen. Without grammar, it would be hard to follow timelines, and the conversation would feel disjointed. 5. Grammar gives precision to your language. Grammar is also essential for adding precision to your communication. Think about how grammar allows us to add more detail or clarity. For example, instead of just saying, she went, we can use more specific grammar to add information, like, she went to the store. She went to the store yesterday. She has gone to the store. Each of these sentences gives a little more information, and grammar is what helps us add that detail. The first sentence is vague, while the other two specify where and when. Grammar lets you give your audience exactly the information they need, at the right time and in the right order. Grammar helps you sound professional. If you're learning English for work, school, or any other professional setting, using proper grammar is important. It's the key to sounding professional, confident, and credible. Imagine you're applying for a job and you send an email that says, I am very excited about this job. It doesn't sound quite right, does it? The correct sentence would be, I am very excited about this job. Using correct grammar in professional settings ensures that you come across as capable and intelligent. It helps you make a strong first impression and communicate your ideas clearly to your employer, clients, or colleagues. Grammar lets you play with language. Another great thing about grammar is that it lets you play with language. Once you understand the basic rules, you can start experimenting with how you put sentences together. You can create questions, express emotions, or even play with the word order to make your writing or speaking more interesting. For example, in English, you can rearrange the sentence, I like pizza, into a question by using grammar. Do I like pizza? Or you can emphasize something by using word order. It is pizza that I like. Grammar gives you the freedom to shape your sentences in different ways and convey meaning with nuance. Grammar makes learning other languages easier. If you learn English grammar, it also helps you learn other languages. Many languages share grammatical concepts such as nouns, verbs, adjectives, and tenses. Once you understand the rules of one language, it's easier to apply those rules to another. For example, if you're learning Spanish after English, the rules of verb conjugation might feel easier because you already understand how tenses work in English. Understanding grammar in one language builds a strong foundation that you can transfer to other languages, helping you become a polyglot or someone who can speak multiple languages. Final thoughts. Grammar is your friend. So, why does grammar matter in English? The answer is simple. Grammar makes communication clear, effective, and precise. It ensures that you're understood, helps you avoid confusion, and lets you express yourself confidently. Whether you're telling a story, writing an email, or speaking with someone, grammar is there to guide you. Think of grammar as your partner in learning English. As you continue to study and practice, it will support you, help you improve, and make you a more confident speaker and writer. In the next chapter, we're going to dive into the different parts of speech, which are the building blocks of grammar. But for now, remember, grammar isn't something to be afraid of. It's your guide to becoming a better communicator. Keep practicing, and you'll see how quickly it becomes second nature. Thanks for joining me in this chapter. Keep up the great work, and I'll see you in the next one. Chapter 4. Mastering the Parts of Speech. Hello again, it's Selena, and welcome to Chapter 4 of our grammar journey. By now, you've learned the basics of why grammar is essential in communication and how it helps you express yourself clearly. Today, we're going to dive deeper into one of the most important parts of grammar, the parts of speech. These are the building blocks that allow us to construct sentences that are meaningful and easy to understand. Now, I know it might sound complicated at first, but don't worry. We're going to break down each part of speech step by step, and by the end of this chapter, you'll have a solid understanding of how to use them effectively in your own sentences. So, let's get started. What are the parts of speech? The parts of speech are categories of words that do specific jobs in a sentence. Each word in a sentence plays a role, and that role is determined by its part of speech. The English language has 8 main parts of speech, and understanding these categories is crucial for forming correct and coherent sentences. These 8 parts of speech are nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, pronouns, prepositions, conjunctions, interjections. Each part of speech has a specific function in a sentence, and together they help us communicate meaningfully. Let's go through each one and look at how they work in detail. Nouns, the names of things. Nouns are words that name people, places, things, or ideas. Essentially, Nouns tell us what something is. They are the building blocks of every sentence, as every sentence needs a subject, and the subject is almost always a noun. There are several types of nouns, including common nouns, general names of things or people. For example, dog, city, or book. Proper nouns, specific names of people, places, or things. For example, John, Paris, or Eiffel Tower. Abstract nouns, ideas or concepts that cannot be physically touched. For example, love, freedom, or happiness. Concrete nouns, things that can be perceived by the senses. For example, apple, house, or car. In a sentence, nouns often act as the subject or object. For example, subject, the cat is sleeping. Object, she is reading a book. Verbs, the action words. Verbs are words that describe actions, states, or occurrences. They tell us what is happening in a sentence. Every sentence needs a verb to make sense, because the verb indicates what the subject is doing or what is happening to the subject. Verbs can be categorized into action. Verbs. These verbs show physical or mental actions. For example, run, think, eat, or write. Linking verbs. These verbs connect the subject with more information about the subject. For example, is, are, was, seems. Auxiliary verbs. These are helper verbs that work with main verbs to form different tenses. For example, will, have, do. Example sentence. Action verb. She runs every morning. Linking verb. He is tired. Auxiliary verb. I have finished my homework. Adjectives. Describing words. Adjectives are words that describe or modify nouns. They tell us what kind, how many, or which one something is. Adjectives give us more detail about a noun, making the sentence more specific and vivid. Examples of adjectives. What kind? Beautiful, tall, happy, how many? 3, several, many. Which one? First, last, favorite. Example sentence. The big dog chased the fast cat. She wore a red dress. In this sentence, big and fast are adjectives that describe the nouns dog and cat, respectively. Adverbs. Describing the action. Adverbs are words that modify verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. They give us more information about how, when, where, or to what extent something happens. They tell us how an action is performed. Adverbs often end in lie, but not always. Some common adverbs are how, quickly, carefully, well, when, now, yesterday, soon, where, here, there, everywhere, to what extent, very, quite, almost, example sentence. She quickly ran to the store, modifies the verb ran. He is very tall, modifies the adjective tall. 5. Pronouns, replacing nouns. Pronouns are words that take the place of nouns. They prevent us from repeating the same nouns over and over again in a sentence or paragraph. Pronouns are especially useful for making language more efficient. Examples of pronouns include personal pronouns: I, you, he, she, it, we, they. Possessive pronouns: my, your, his, her, its, our, their. Reflexive pronouns: myself, yourself, himself, herself. Demonstrative pronouns: this, that, these, those. Example sentence: she is my best friend. Here, she replaces the noun Selena. The book is mine. Here, mine is a possessive pronoun replacing my book. Prepositions, showing relationships. Prepositions are words that show the relationship between a noun or pronoun and another word in the sentence. Prepositions tell us where or when something happens or the direction of the action. Examples of prepositions include location, in, on, under, next to, time, before, after, during, until, direction, to, toward, from. Example sentence: the cat is on the table. Shows location: I will meet you after lunch. Shows time: 7. Conjunctions, connecting ideas. Conjunctions are words that join words, phrases, or clauses together. They connect parts of a sentence and show how they relate to each other. There are 3 types of conjunctions: coordinating conjunctions, and, but, or nor, for, so, yet subordinating conjunctions, although, because, since, unless. Correlative conjunctions: either, or, neither, nor, both. And example sentence: I like tea and coffee. Joins 2 nouns. I stayed home because it was raining. Joins a clause to explain the reason. Interjections, expressing emotions. Interjections are short, sudden words or phrases used to express strong feelings or emotions. They are often found at the beginning of a sentence or in response to an event. Examples of interjections: wow, oh no, oops, hooray. Example sentence: wow, that was an amazing performance. Oops, I dropped the glass. Why mastering the parts of speech is important. Now that we know what each part of speech is, let's talk about why it's so important to master them. Understanding and mastering the parts of speech helps you Construct clear sentences. By knowing which part of speech to use and where, you can build sentences that are logical and easy to follow. Improve writing and speaking. The more you practice using different parts of speech, the more fluent and accurate your speaking and writing will become. Increase variety. Knowing the different parts of speech allows you to experiment with different ways of expressing yourself. You can play with word choice, sentence structure, and style to create more interesting and dynamic sentences. Communicate more effectively. The better you understand the parts of speech, the better you can express yourself. You'll be able to speak and write with precision and confidence. Conclusion. Mastering the parts of speech is the foundation of understanding English grammar. By learning how each part functions and how to use them correctly, you'll be able to create clear, effective sentences that communicate your ideas to others. So, don't rush. Take your time to practice each part of speech, and soon it'll feel second nature to you. In the next chapter, we'll move on to sentence structure. How to put all these parts together to form sentences that are not just grammatically correct, but also interesting and engaging. Keep up the great work, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Chapter 5. Understanding Sentence Structure. Hello and welcome back. I'm Selena, and today we're going to explore one of the most important elements of grammar: sentence structure. Understanding sentence structure is essential for making your English both clear and natural. It's the framework that helps you organize your thoughts and communicate your ideas in a way that others can easily understand. In this chapter, we'll break down the basics of sentence structure, look at different types of sentences, and explore how to combine words in the right order to create sentences that flow smoothly. By the end of this chapter, you'll be able to form sentences with confidence, knowing that they follow the rules of grammar and make sense to your listener or reader. Let's dive in. What is sentence structure? Sentence structure refers to the way words and phrases are arranged to form a complete sentence. It's the organization of the subject, verb, and other elements in a sentence, which together create meaning. Without a clear sentence structure, even the best ideas can become jumbled, leaving the listener or reader confused. In English, sentence structure generally follows a specific pattern, and knowing this pattern will help you communicate your ideas more effectively. The basic sentence structure. At its most basic level, the structure of an English sentence follows a pattern known as subject plus verb plus object, SVO. This pattern is the foundation of sentence construction, and understanding it will help you form simple, clear sentences. Let's break down this basic structure. Subject, S. The subject of the sentence is who or what the sentence is about. It's usually a noun or pronoun. Verb, V. The verb tells us what the subject is doing, what's happening to the subject, or the state the subject is in. Object, O. The object is the person, thing, or idea that the action is happening to. Not all sentences have an object, but many do. For example, subject, I verb, eat, object, an apple. The sentence is, I eat an apple. Here, I is the subject, eat is the verb, and an apple is the object. This simple structure is the foundation of many English sentences. Building more complex sentences. As your English skills grow, you'll need to form more complex sentences. This is where things like compound and complex sentences come into play. Let's take a look at each. Simple sentences. A simple sentence consists of just one independent clause. An independent clause is a group of words that has both a subject and a verb and expresses a complete thought. Simple sentences are usually short, but they can be powerful and clear. Examples of simple sentences. I read a book. She is running. They eat dinner every night. Each of these sentences contains a subject, verb, and in some cases, an object. There's no extra information or clauses in these sentences, just a straightforward idea. Compound sentences. A compound sentence is formed by joining two or more independent clauses using a coordinating conjunction. Coordinating conjunctions are words like and, but, or, so, nor, for, and yet. These conjunctions help connect two ideas of equal importance. For example, I wanted to go to the park, but it started raining. She loves reading books, and he enjoys playing sports. In these sentences, we have two independent clauses joined by a conjunction. The two clauses are complete sentences on their own, but we connect them to show how they are related. Complex sentences. A complex sentence consists of one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. A dependent clause is a group of words that has both a subject and a verb, but does not express a complete thought. A dependent clause cannot stand alone as a sentence. It needs an independent clause to make sense. For example, I stayed at home because it was raining. Although she was tired, she finished her homework. In the first example, I stayed at home is the independent clause, and because it was raining is the dependent clause. In the second example, she finished her homework is the independent clause, and although she was tired is the dependent clause. The dependent clause provides additional information about the independent clause, giving us a fuller understanding of the sentence. 4. Compound complex sentences. A compound complex sentence is a combination of both a compound and a complex sentence. It contains at least two independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses. This type of sentence allows you to connect multiple ideas in a single sentence, making your communication more detailed and sophisticated. For example, I wanted to go to the beach, but it was too cold, so I decided to stay home and watch a movie. Although she loves painting, she hasn't had time to finish her latest artwork, and she's feeling frustrated. In these sentences, we have two independent clauses, connected by a coordinating conjunction, and at least one dependent clause. This structure allows you to add complexity and nuance to your ideas. Understanding the role of punctuation. Now that you understand the different sentence structures, it's important to know how punctuation works with them. Punctuation marks like commas, periods, and semicolons help us organize ideas, separate clauses, and indicate pauses. Without punctuation, sentences would run together, making it difficult to understand where one idea ends and another begins. For example, period indicates the end of a sentence. I like chocolate, comma, separates ideas or clauses within a sentence. I went to the store, but I forgot to buy eggs. Semicolon connects two related independent clauses without using a partikai. Conjunction. I enjoy hiking. It's a great way to relax. Punctuation is like the traffic lights of language. It helps control the flow of your sentences and guides your reader through the ideas. Common sentence structure. Errors to avoid. While learning sentence structure, it's easy to make some common mistakes. Here are a few to watch out for. Run-on sentences. This happens when two independent clauses are joined without the proper punctuation or conjunction. For example, incorrect. I went to the store, I forgot my wallet. Correct. I went to the store, but I forgot my wallet. Fragments. This occurs when a sentence is incomplete, often because it's missing an independent clause or a subject. For example, incorrect. While walking to the park. Correct. While walking to the park, I saw a squirrel. Subject-verb agreement. Always make sure your subject and verb agree in number. For example, incorrect. She go to the gym every day. Correct. She goes to the gym every day. Misplaced modifiers. This happens when a descriptive word or phrase is placed too far away from the word it is supposed to describe, leading to confusion. For example, incorrect. She almost drove her car to work every day. Correct. She drove her car to work almost every day. Why sentence structure is important. Understanding sentence structure is crucial for several reasons. Clarity. The right sentence. Structure ensures that your ideas are organized in a way that's easy for others to follow. Without a clear structure, your message can be lost or misunderstood. Variety. Knowing how to use different types of sentences allows you to add variety to your speech and writing. This helps keep your audience engaged and makes your language more interesting. Accuracy. Correct sentence structure ensures that you are conveying your intended meaning without confusion or ambiguity. It helps you avoid errors that can lead to miscommunication. Flow. Proper sentence structure ensures that your writing and speaking flow smoothly, making it easier for your listener or reader to follow your thoughts. Final thoughts on sentence structure. Mastering sentence structure is one of the most important steps in becoming fluent in English. Whether you're writing an essay, having a conversation, or telling a story, understanding how to organize your sentences effectively will make you a more powerful communicator. Remember, sentence structure is the skeleton of your communication. It holds everything together. The more you practice using different types of sentences and paying attention to the order of words, the better you'll get at constructing sentences that are clear, engaging, and grammatically correct. In the next chapter, we'll explore punctuation and how it works with sentence structure to make your writing even clearer. Keep practicing your sentence construction, and soon you'll be able to write and speak with confidence and precision. Great job so far, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Chapter 6. Punctuation, the Silent Guide. Hello again. It's Selena, and I'm so glad you're back for Chapter 6 of our grammar journey. Today we're going to talk about something that many students often overlook, but it's just as important as knowing the right words: punctuation. You might think punctuation is just a collection of symbols that help break up sentences, but it's much more than that. Punctuation is the silent guide that helps us organize our thoughts, clarify our meaning, and ensure that our sentences flow smoothly. Without punctuation, sentences would be nothing but a long stream of words, difficult to understand and easy to misinterpret. In this chapter, we're going to dive into the importance of punctuation, learn about the most common punctuation marks, and explore how each one helps make our writing clearer. By the end of this chapter, you'll see just how powerful punctuation is in ensuring that your sentences are well organized, clear, and easy to read. Let's get started. What is punctuation, and why does it matter? Punctuation refers to the marks we use in writing to organize and separate sentences, clauses, and words. These marks help guide the reader through the text, indicating where pauses should happen, where emphasis is needed, and where sentences end. Punctuation allows the writer to control the flow of their sentences and ensures that the reader can follow the ideas with ease. Without punctuation, writing would be chaotic. Imagine reading a paragraph like this. I love cooking, but sometimes it can be frustrating because the kitchen gets messy, then I have to clean up after. I always make sure to set aside time for cooking, though. I think it's important to eat healthy food. Without any punctuation, it's hard to know where one idea ends and another begins. It becomes difficult to understand what the writer is trying to say. That's why punctuation is so important. It tells us how to read the sentence. It provides structure and clarity, making communication much more effective. The most common punctuation marks. There are several punctuation marks used in English, each serving a specific purpose. Let's go through each one in detail. Period. Buffer the full stop. The period is probably the most straightforward punctuation mark. It signals the end of a sentence. When you finish stating a complete thought or idea, you place a period at the end. For example, she went to the store. I'm learning English. The dog is sleeping. The period tells the reader that the thought or statement has concluded. Comma. The pause. Commas are incredibly useful for breaking up ideas in a sentence, adding clarity and indicating a pause. They help the reader take a breath and understand how the different parts of the sentence relate to each other. There are several situations where we use commas. To separate items in a list, I bought apples, bananas, oranges, and grapes. To separate. Independent clauses joined by a conjunction. I wanted to go to the beach, but it was too cold. To set off introductory elements. After the meeting, we went for lunch. To set off non-essential information, my brother, who lives in New York, is visiting next week. Commas help organize the sentence, making it easier to read and follow. Without commas, your sentences might run together, causing confusion. Question mark. The inquiry. The question mark is used at the end of a sentence to indicate that the sentence is asking a question. It tells the reader that you are seeking information or clarification. For example, where is the nearest bus stop? What time? Does the train leave? When you ask a direct question, the sentence ends with a question mark. Exclamation mark. The expression of emotion. Exclamation marks are used to show strong emotion, surprise, or excitement. They add emphasis to the sentence and make it feel more expressive. For example, wow, that was amazing. I can't believe we won the game. Stop right there. Use an exclamation mark to convey a high level of emotion or excitement. However, be careful not to overuse it, as it can make your writing sound too dramatic if used too frequently. 5. Semicolon. The bridge between ideas. A semicolon is used to connect two independent clauses, complete thoughts, that are closely related. It's stronger than a comma, but not as final as a period. The semicolon tells the reader that the I. Two clauses are connected and should be read together. For example, I went to the store. I forgot to buy milk. She loves to read books. He prefers watching movies. A semicolon can also be used to separate items in a list when those items contain commas, making the sentence clearer. I have visited Paris, France, Rome, Italy, and Tokyo, Japan. 6. Colon. Introducing information. The colon is used to introduce a list, explanation, or further details about something mentioned in the sentence. It signals that the information that follows is related to the introduction. Example: she has 3 favorite hobbies: reading, hiking, and painting. There is one thing I need to tell you. I'm moving to another city. A colon should only be used after a complete sentence. It's not appropriate to place a colon after a fragment or incomplete sentence. Quotation marks. The dialogue or exact words quotation marks are used to indicate direct speech or to highlight a specific word or phrase. They are also used to mark the titles of short works, like articles, songs, or chapters in a book. For example, she said, "I'll be there in 5 minutes." The article is titled, "The Future of Technology." Quotation marks are essential for distinguishing someone's spoken words or for emphasizing a particular term. Apostrophe. Ownership or contractions. The apostrophe serves 2 primary purposes: to show possession and to form contractions. Possession. We use apostrophes to show that something belongs to someone or something. That's Sarah's book. The cat's toy is missing. Contractions. Apostrophes are used in contractions, where letters are left out to make 2 words shorter. I don't know the answer. She's going to the store. Parentheses. Extra information or clarification. Parentheses are used to add extra information to a sentence, usually an explanation or clarification. The information inside the parentheses is often optional and does not change the meaning of the main sentence. For example, I went to the store, which was closed, and then came home. She finally answered the phone after 5 minutes of ringing. Punctuation and its role in clarity. Each punctuation mark has a specific job, and when used correctly, it greatly improves the clarity of your writing. Here's how punctuation helps us. Indicates pauses. Commas and periods tell us when to pause in a sentence, giving us time to understand the meaning of what's being said. Clarifies meaning. Punctuation separates ideas, making the meaning clearer and easier to follow. Adds emphasis. Exclamation marks and question marks help emphasize emotion and provide a sense of urgency or curiosity. Controls sentence flow. Semicolons and colons connect related ideas and ensure the sentence flows naturally. Common punctuation mistakes to avoid. Here are a few common punctuation errors to watch out for. Comma splices. A comma splice happens when two independent clauses are joined by just a comma without a coordinating conjunction. This can make the sentence feel incomplete. Incorrect. I like reading. I don't like writing. Correct. I like reading, but I don't like writing. Run-on sentences. This happens when two independent clauses are joined without proper punctuation or conjunctions. Incorrect. She loves to play tennis. She plays every weekend. Correct. She loves to play tennis. She plays every weekend. Misusing apostrophes. Apostrophes are often misused when forming plurals or confusing possessive and plural forms. Incorrect. I have two cats. Correct. I have two cats. Overusing exclamation marks. Exclamation marks should be used sparingly. Overusing them can make your writing sound too dramatic or casual. Incorrect. Wow, that's amazing. You did a great job. Wow. Correct. Wow, that's amazing. You did a great job. Final thoughts on punctuation. Punctuation is the silent guide that helps your writing make sense. It organizes ideas, clarifies meaning, and gives your writing a professional touch. Without punctuation, sentences can become jumbled and unclear, making it hard for your reader to follow your thoughts. By understanding and using punctuation correctly, you can ensure that your sentences are clear, engaging, and easy to understand. In the next chapter, we'll dive into common grammar mistakes and how to avoid them. For now, take the time to practice. Using punctuation in your writing. It may seem small, but it has a huge impact on the way your sentences come across. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Chapter 7: The Power of Practice. Exercises and Activities. Hello again, it's Selena, and welcome to Chapter 7 of our grammar journey. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most important elements of mastering grammar: practice. While understanding the rules of grammar is crucial, it's the consistent practice that truly helps you internalize those rules and apply them naturally in your speaking and writing. In this chapter, we'll explore why practice is so powerful, how it can make a real difference in your language learning, and most importantly, we'll go through some fun and practical exercises and activities you can use to improve your grammar skills. If you've been following along, you already have a solid understanding of the basics, but now it's time to put that knowledge to the test and see how much you've learned. Are you ready? Let's get started. Why practice is essential for mastering grammar. Think of learning grammar as learning how to play a musical instrument. When you first start, the rules and patterns might seem complicated, and you might make a lot of mistakes. But with regular practice, you start to get the hang of it. Your fingers, or your mind, start to move more easily, and eventually it becomes second nature. The same goes for grammar. The more you practice, the more comfortable and confident you will become in using grammar correctly. Grammar rules might seem overwhelming at first, but when you practice, you are reinforcing the structure in your brain, making it easier to recall when you need it. Here's why practice is so important. Reinforcement of concepts. Practice helps. You internalize grammar rules. By doing exercises over and over again, you begin to remember the rules without having to think too much about them. Real-life application. Grammar is not just something you learn for tests or exams. It's a tool you use every day in real-life communication. The more you practice, the better you will be at applying grammar in conversations, writing, and reading. Confidence building. As you practice, you'll start to see improvements, and this will give you more confidence in your ability to speak and write in English. You'll feel more comfortable using complex sentences and expressing your ideas clearly. Error. Correction. Practice also allows you to spot your mistakes and correct them. The more you practice, the better you will become at identifying and fixing common grammar errors in your own writing and speaking. Types of grammar. Exercises and activities. Now that we've established why practice is important, let's explore some practical exercises and activities that you can use to improve your grammar. These exercises are designed to help you practice specific grammar rules, reinforce what you've learned, and develop a deeper understanding of how to use grammar in context. Fill in the blank exercises. One of the best ways to practice grammar is through fill-in-the-blank exercises. These exercises provide you with a sentence that's missing a word or phrase, and your job is to choose the correct word to complete the sentence. This exercise forces you to think about the grammar rules you've learned and apply them in context. For example, I eat breakfast every morning. Correct answer, eat, present simple. She, go to the store yesterday. Correct answer, went. Past simple. By practicing these types of exercises, you can reinforce your understanding of verb tenses, subject-verb agreement, and other important grammar rules. You can find fill-in-the-blank exercises online in grammar workbooks, or you can create your own using sentences from articles or books you've read. The key is to practice regularly, focusing on specific grammar topics each time. Sentence rearranging exercises. Another great way to practice sentence structure is through sentence rearranging exercises. These exercises challenge you to take a jumbled set of words and rearrange them into a grammatically correct sentence. It helps you practice word order, subject-verb agreement, and punctuation. For example, rearrange this. Park, to, we, are, the caulk's going. Correct sentence, we are going to the park. Rearrange this. She, house, the caulk are big, in, lives. Correct sentence, she lives in the big house. This exercise not only helps you practice sentence structure, but it also improves your ability to identify and fix mistakes in your own writing. 3. Shadowing technique. The shadowing technique is an excellent exercise for improving both your grammar and pronunciation. Shadowing involves listening to a native speaker from a podcast, video, or language app, and then repeating what they say immediately after. This helps you practice grammar in real time and allows you to mimic sentence structures, word choice, and pronunciation. For example, listen to a short sentence. She is going to the store. Repeat it out loud. She is going to the store. As you practice, pay attention to the grammar used in the sentences. For example, notice the use of the present continuous tense in is going and how it connects to the subject, she. Repeat this process with longer sentences and more complex grammar patterns as you improve. Shadowing helps you learn to think in English and use grammar naturally, just as a native speaker would. Daily writing practice. One of the most effective ways to improve your grammar is by writing every day. The more you write, the more you can practice using the grammar rules you've learned. Start small. Try writing a short paragraph or a few sentences each day. As you get more comfortable, challenge yourself to write longer pieces, such as essays, emails, or stories. You can focus on specific grammar topics each day, like practicing using different tenses, or focusing on sentence structure and punctuation. The more you write, the more you'll reinforce the grammar concepts that are most important to you. For example, write a paragraph using the present simple tense to describe your daily routine. Write a short story using past tenses, such as the past simple or past continuous. Once you finish writing, go back and review it for any grammar mistakes. Correct them, and try writing the same sentences again with the changes you've made. This process helps you learn from your mistakes and become more confident in using correct grammar. Grammar quizzes and games. If you want to make grammar practice more fun, try using grammar quizzes and games. There are plenty of online resources and apps that offer quizzes and games specifically designed to test your grammar knowledge. These interactive tools help you practice grammar in a way that's engaging and challenging. You can find quizzes that focus on specific grammar topics, like tenses, parts of speech, or punctuation. They give you instant feedback, which is helpful for identifying areas where you need more practice. Some apps even use gamification, awarding points and badges as you progress, making it feel like a game rather than a chore. For example, try quizzes that focus on verb tenses present simple, past simple, future tense, etc. Parts of speech, nouns, verbs, adjectives, etc. Punctuation rules, correct usage of commas, periods, and question marks. Reading and analyzing sentences. Reading is a powerful way to reinforce your grammar skills. When you read in English, pay close attention to the sentence structures, verb tenses, and punctuation used by the author. By analyzing well-written sentences, you can learn how grammar rules are applied in real-life contexts. Try these activities. Highlight grammar structures. As you read, highlight examples of different grammar rules in the text. For instance, underline all the verbs in the past tense, or highlight any complex sentences with multiple clauses. Write your own sentences based on what you read. After reading a section, try writing your own sentences using similar grammar structures. This helps reinforce what you've just read. Reading gives you exposure to grammar in context, allowing you to see how the rules work in natural communication. The power of consistency. The key to mastering grammar is consistent practice. Just like learning any other skill, regular practice is essential for improvement. The more you practice, the more you'll begin to notice your progress. You'll become more confident in using grammar naturally, without having to think too much about the rules. Set aside time each day to practice grammar, even if it's just for 10 or 15 minutes. The important thing is to stay consistent and focused on improving. Over time, your understanding of grammar will deepen, and you'll find that you can express yourself more clearly and confidently. Conclusion. In this chapter, we've explored the power of practice and how regular exercises and activities can help you master grammar. Whether you're doing fill-in-the-blank exercises, practicing sentence structure, shadowing native speakers, or writing every day, consistent practice is the key to improving your skills. By using these exercises and activities, you'll reinforce the grammar rules you've learned and become more confident in using them in your speaking and writing. Keep practicing, stay consistent, and you'll continue to see progress. In the next chapter, we'll focus on applying grammar in real conversations, taking your grammar skills from the classroom to real-life communication. Keep up the great work, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Chapter 8. Using Grammar in Real Conversations. Hello everyone, it's Selena here, and welcome to Chapter 8 of our grammar journey. Today, we're going to move beyond the rules and exercises to explore how to use grammar in real conversations. This chapter is all about taking everything you've learned about grammar and applying it naturally when you speak. It's one thing to know the rules on paper, but it's another to use them fluidly in daily communication. Let's dive into how you can bring your grammar skills to life in real-world interactions. Bridging the gap between theory and practice. When you first learn grammar, it often feels like a series of abstract rules and exercises. But the real challenge is using these rules spontaneously in conversations. Think of grammar as the foundation of a building. The better the foundation, the stronger and more stable the building. Similarly, by mastering grammar, you create a solid base that allows you to express your ideas clearly and confidently in any conversation. In real conversations, grammar isn't always perfectly formal. People often speak in fragments or use casual language, yet the underlying grammar still plays a role in conveying meaning. Our goal here is to help you become so comfortable with grammar that it becomes second nature when you speak. Techniques to integrate grammar into conversation. Shadowing native speakers. One of the most effective techniques is the shadowing method. This means listening carefully to native speakers, whether in videos, podcasts, or live conversations, and then repeating what you hear as closely as possible. When you shadow, pay attention to how the speaker uses different tenses, structures their sentences, and employs punctuation cues in their speech rhythm. Example: listen to a sentence like, "I'm planning to visit the museum tomorrow," and immediately repeat it, focusing on the natural flow of the present continuous tense combined with a future plan. With practice, your spoken grammar will start to mimic that of native speakers. Active listening and analysis. Active listening is a powerful way to integrate grammar into your speaking skills. When engaging in conversations or listening to English media, focus not only on the content, but also on the structure of the sentences. Notice the use of transitional words, verb tenses, and sentence connectors. Exercise. During a podcast or conversation, pause after a few sentences and mentally break down the sentence structure. Identify the subject, verb, object, and any additional phrases. Later, try to recreate similar sentences in your own words. Role-playing conversations. Role-playing is an interactive and fun method to practice grammar in context. Find a language partner or even practice by yourself by imagining different scenarios. Ordering food at a restaurant, asking for directions, or making small talk with a neighbor. Example: create a dialogue where you ask, "Could you tell me where the nearest coffee shop is?" and respond with, "Yes, it's just around the corner, next to the bookstore." This exercise helps you practice forming questions and answers naturally while reinforcing the correct use of verb forms and sentence structures. Speaking in everyday situations. Real-life conversations are the best practice ground for using grammar. Take advantage of everyday situations, whether you're ordering food, chatting with a friend, or even talking to yourself about your daily routine. Tip: describe what you're doing as you do it. For instance, say, "I'm cooking dinner right now," or I will go for a walk after lunch. This constant practice reinforces the proper use of tenses and helps you become more fluid and natural in your speech. Recording and self-review. Another valuable technique is to record yourself while speaking. This could be while narrating your day, telling a story, or practicing a conversation. Listening back to the recording allows you to identify any recurring grammar mistakes and assess your overall fluency. Exercise. Record a short monologue about your plans for the weekend. Listen to it and note any areas where your sentence structure or verb tenses might be off. Then, re-record the monologue with corrections. Over time, this self-review process will build your confidence and help you internalize correct grammar usage. Joining conversation groups. Participating in conversation groups, either in person or online, gives you the opportunity to practice grammar in a social context. Engaging with others forces you to think on your feet, structure your thoughts quickly, and use the appropriate grammar spontaneously. Tip: look for groups or clubs that focus on English language practice. Whether it's a formal class or an informal meetup, these interactions are a great way to apply grammar in dynamic real-time conversations. Integrating grammar naturally. It's important to understand that natural conversation doesn't always follow strict grammatical rules the way written language does. Native speakers often use contractions, omit certain words, or speak in incomplete sentences. However, having a strong grasp of grammar provides you with the flexibility to adjust your speech to the context. Example: when speaking casually, you might say, "I'm gonna head out now," instead of the more formal, "I am going to head out now." Even though the grammar is slightly relaxed, you're still using the core rules correctly. Subject, verb, and object are all in place, and the meaning is clear. As you become more fluent, you'll notice that your natural speech patterns are influenced by your solid understanding of grammar. This foundation allows you to experiment with different sentence structures, ask questions effectively, and express complex ideas with clarity and confidence. Overcoming common challenges. Using grammar in real conversation can be challenging at first. Here are some common challenges and tips to overcome them. Hesitation and self-correction. It's normal to hesitate or self-correct while speaking. Don't be discouraged by pauses or minor errors. Each correction is a learning opportunity that reinforces your understanding. Balancing formality and informality. Understand that the level of grammatical precision may vary depending on the context. Practice both formal and informal speech so you can adapt to different social settings. Managing nerves. Speaking in a second language can be intimidating. Remember, making mistakes is part of the learning process. Focus on communicating your ideas rather than striving for perfection. With practice, fluency will come naturally. Final thoughts on using grammar in conversation. Using grammar in real conversations is the culmination of all your hard work, studying rules, practicing exercises, and engaging in interactive activities. It's about taking that solid foundation and letting it support you as you express your thoughts in real time. The techniques we've discussed, from shadowing and active listening to role-playing and recording, are all tools that will help you transition from learning grammar in isolation to using it confidently in everyday interactions. Remember, every conversation is a chance to practice. The more you speak, the more your grammar will become a natural part of your language use. Don't worry about being perfect. Focus on clear communication and enjoy the process of learning. Thank you for joining me in this chapter. Keep practicing, stay engaged, and soon you'll find that using proper grammar in conversations feels as natural as breathing. I'll see you in the next chapter, where we'll continue to build on these skills and explore even more ways to improve your English fluency. Happy speaking. Chapter 9. Mastering tenses and their applications. Hello, everyone. It's Selena, and welcome to Chapter 9 of our grammar journey. Today, we are going to tackle one of the most important aspects of English grammar: tenses. Understanding and mastering tenses is absolutely essential for expressing time, actions, and events correctly in English. Tenses allow you to explain when things happen, how long they last, and even what will happen in the future. In this chapter, we'll break down everything you need to know about tenses, from the basics of what tenses are to the different forms we use, and how to apply them in real-life situations. By the end of this chapter, you will have a solid understanding of tenses and how to use them confidently in your speaking and writing. Let's get started. What are tenses and why do they matter? Tenses are used in grammar to show the time an action takes place. Whether the action happened in the past, is happening now, or will happen in the future, tenses help us indicate the exact time frame of an event. Without tenses, we wouldn't be able to communicate clearly about when things occur, leading to confusion. There are three main time frames in English: past, actions that have already happened; present, actions happening now or regularly; future, actions that will happen later. Each of these time frames has various forms and structures to describe actions more specifically. The key to mastering tenses is understanding when and how to use the correct form depending on the context. The three main tenses in English. Let's take a closer look at the three main tenses: present, past, and future. Within each of these, there are different aspects or forms, which show whether an action is complete, ongoing, or repetitive. Present tense. The present tense is used to describe actions or events that are happening now, general truths, or habits. There are several forms of the present tense. Simple present, used for regular actions, general truths, or facts. Example: I walk to school every day. We use the simple present to talk about routines, habits, and general statements of fact. Present, continuous, used for actions happening at the moment of speaking or actions that are ongoing. Example: she is reading a book right now. The present continuous tense is formed by using the verb to be, am, is, are, plus the main verb with ing. Present perfect, used for actions that started in the past but are still relevant in the present, or actions that have been completed at an unspecified time. Example: I have eaten lunch already. This form is used to connect past actions to the I. Present, present, perfect. Continuous, used for actions that began in the past and are still continuing or have recently stopped, with emphasis on the duration. Example: I have been studying for 2 hours. This form focuses on the ongoing nature of the action and the time spent on it. Past tense. The past tense is used to describe actions that have already happened at a specific time. There are several forms of the past tense. Simple past, used to talk about actions that happened at a specific time in the past. Example: I visited Paris last year. The simple past is often used with time expressions like yesterday, last year in 1995, etc. Past continuous, used to describe actions that were happening at a specific time in the past. Example: I was reading when you called me. This form is used to emphasize the ongoing nature of an action in the past. Past perfect, used to talk about an action that was completed before another action in the past. Example: she had finished her homework before she went to the party. The past perfect tense is used to show which of two past actions occurred first. Past perfect continuous, used to describe an action that was happening continuously up until a certain point in the past. Example: I had been waiting for an hour when the bus finally arrived. This form emphasizes the duration of the action that was happening before another past event. 3. Future tense. The future tense is used to describe actions that will happen in the future. Like the other tenses, the future tense has multiple forms. Simple future, used to talk about actions that will happen in the future. Example: I will go to the store tomorrow. The simple future tense is usually formed by using will plus the base verb. Future, continuous. Used to describe actions that will be happening at a specific time in the future. Example, I will be studying at 8 p.m. tonight. This form is used to show that something will be in progress at a future time. Future perfect. Used to describe actions that will be completed by a certain time in the future. Example, I will have finished my work by the time you arrive. The future perfect tense connects a future action to a specific time. Future perfect, continuous. Used to describe actions that will be ongoing up until a point in the future, with an emphasis on the duration. Example, by next month, I will have been working here for 5 years. This form highlights the duration of the action leading up to a future point. Understanding when to use each tense. Each tense has a specific use depending on what you're trying to communicate. Let's look at some guidelines for when to use each one. Use the present tense. When talking about habits, routines, and general truths. Example, I always drink coffee in the morning. Habit, describing something that is happening right now. Example, I am studying for my exams. Action happening at the moment. Use the past tense. When, describing something that happened at a specific time in the past. Example, I visited London last. Summer, completed action in the past. Talking about events that occurred before now. Example, I worked at that company for 5 years. Finished action. Use the future tense. When, talking about actions that will take place in the future. Example, I will go to the gym tomorrow. Future plan, expressing future predictions or assumptions. Example, it will rain tomorrow. Future event, common mistakes with tenses and how to avoid them. Using tenses correctly can be tricky, especially when you're speaking quickly or trying to express complex ideas. Here are some common mistakes learners make with tenses and how to avoid them. Mixing tenses incorrectly. One common mistake is mixing tenses in a way that doesn't make sense, such as using the present tense when you're talking about a past event. Always check the context to ensure you're using the right tense. Incorrect. Yesterday, I go to the market. Correct. Yesterday, I went to the market. Forgetting to use the right auxiliary. Some tenses require auxiliary verbs like have, will, or be. Forgetting to use them can make your sentence sound incomplete or incorrect. Incorrect. I studied English for 2 years. Should be I have studied. Correct? I have studied English for 2 years. Using the wrong form of the verb. Sometimes we forget to change the verb form when switching between tenses. For example, using the base form of the verb in the past tense, or using an incorrect auxiliary verb. Incorrect. She have finished her homework. Correct. She has finished her homework. Mastering tenses through practice. The best way to master tenses is through practice. Here are a few exercises you can try. Tense identification. Read short passages or listen to conversations and try to identify the tense used in each sentence. Write down why each tense is used and what its function is in the context. Fill in the blank. Complete exercises where you have to fill in the blanks with the correct tense form based on the context. Sentence creation. Create your own sentences using different tenses. Try making a sentence in the present tense, then rewrite it in the past and future tense. Final thoughts on mastering tenses. Mastering tenses is one of the most important skills you can develop as an English learner. By understanding the different tenses and how to apply them, you'll be able to express yourself clearly and accurately in a wide variety of situations. Whether you're telling a story, making plans, or explaining something that happened, the correct use of tenses will make your communication smoother and more effective. Keep practicing. Be mindful of when to use each tense, and soon you'll be using them naturally in both your writing and speaking. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into how to use these tenses in complex sentence structures and integrate them with other grammar rules. Great job so far. Keep up the hard work, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Chapter 10. Reading to Reinforce Grammar. Hello and welcome back. It's Selena, and we're finally at Chapter 10 of our grammar journey. In today's chapter, we're going to talk about an incredibly powerful tool for improving your grammar. Reading. Reading is one of the best ways to reinforce everything you've learned so far. It not only helps you expand your vocabulary and improve comprehension, but also gives you the chance to see grammar in action. Whether you're reading books, articles, or even just everyday texts, reading exposes you to grammar in real contexts and helps you understand how sentences are constructed naturally. So, in this chapter, we're going to explore why reading is such an effective way to reinforce grammar, how it helps you see grammar in context, and how you can actively use reading to improve your grammar skills. Let's get started. Why reading is important for grammar. We often think of grammar as something that we need to study from textbooks, practicing exercises, and learning specific rules. While all of this is important, reading is one of the most natural and enjoyable ways to improve your grammar. Here's why. Exposes you to real-life grammar usage. When you read in English, you are exposed to the natural day-to-day use of grammar in a variety of contexts. From the simplest conversations to complex narratives, reading gives you the opportunity to see how grammar is used by skilled writers and speakers. Improves sentence structure. By reading, you get to see how different sentences are structured and how grammar plays a key role in making the meaning clear. Over time, you will internalize these structures and begin to use them more naturally in your own speech and writing. Contextualizes grammar rules. In a grammar exercise, you might learn a rule and practice it in isolation, but reading helps you see how grammar fits into a larger context. You'll understand not just how to use a certain tense or structure, but also why it's used in a particular situation. Reinforces vocabulary and grammar simultaneously. Reading helps you encounter new words and expressions while also reinforcing the grammar rules you've learned. It's a dual-purpose activity that allows you to grow both your vocabulary and your grammar knowledge at the same time. Enhances understanding of idiomatic expressions. Many grammatical structures are used in idiomatic expressions or phrases that may not make immediate sense if you only focus on individual words. Reading helps you become familiar with these expressions and understand their grammatical structure in a more practical, natural way. How reading reinforces grammar. Now that we've established why reading is so powerful, let's break down exactly how it reinforces grammar. Here are the key ways reading can help. Seeing grammar in context. One of the most powerful aspects of reading is that it shows you how grammar functions in real sentences. You get to see grammatical rules in context, which is crucial for truly understanding them. For example, consider the difference between the simple past tense and the present perfect tense. Simple past: I ate lunch at noon. Present perfect: I have eaten lunch. While both sentences talk about eating, the first uses the simple past because the action is completed and specific to a point in time, noon. The second uses the present perfect because the action has relevance to the present moment. By reading texts, you can see these nuances in action and understand the subtle differences in how tenses are applied. Identifying and understanding sentence structures. Reading gives you exposure to various sentence structures, from simple to complex. You can observe how different parts of a sentence work together to convey meaning. For example, a compound sentence might look like this: I went to the store and I bought some bread. And a complex sentence could look like this: although it was raining, I went to the store to buy some bread. In both examples, you can see how different clauses are connected, either by a conjunction in the compound sentence or by a dependent clause in the complex sentence. By reading regularly, you'll become more comfortable with identifying and using these structures. 3. Understanding tense usage in real contexts. In your grammar lessons, you learn about the present, past, and future tenses, and you may even practice filling in blanks or correcting sentences. However, reading provides a real-world context for these tenses. You'll see how authors and speakers use different tenses to convey the timing of events, and over time you'll develop an intuitive sense of when and how to use each tense. For example, past tense. She walked to the park yesterday. Present. Continuous. She is walking to the park right now. Future. Perfect. By the time you arrive, she will have walked to the park. By reading books, articles, or even social media posts, you will naturally come across these examples and see how different tenses function in everyday language. Grammar and punctuation in action. Punctuation is often one of the more challenging aspects of writing, but reading helps you see how punctuation marks guide the flow and meaning of sentences. When you read, notice how punctuation affects the rhythm and clarity of sentences. For example, commas help separate ideas and clarify meaning. She went to the store, and then she went home. Periods mark the end of a thought. She went home. Question. Marks indicate inquiries. Are you coming to the party? The more you read, the more you'll understand how punctuation helps structure your ideas and makes your writing clearer. How to actively use reading to improve grammar. While reading is naturally a great way to reinforce grammar, you can make the process even more effective by being an active reader. Here are a few ways to actively engage with what you read and reinforce your grammar skills. Annotate texts. As you read, underline or highlight examples of grammar you find interesting or challenging. Make a note of any unfamiliar sentence. Structures, tenses, or punctuation usage. This helps you focus on how grammar is applied in context. For example, you might read a sentence like, "By the time she finishes her project, she will have completed all the tasks." You can underline "will have completed" to remind yourself that this is a future perfect tense, used to describe an action that will be completed before a specific point in the future. Take a moment to reflect on how and why the future perfect tense is used here. Rewriting sentences. After you've read a section, try rewriting a sentence or two in your own words while maintaining the correct grammar structure. You can even try changing the tense or sentence structure. For example, original, "I went to the store to buy some fruit." Rewritten, "I will go to the store to buy some fruit tomorrow." This exercise helps reinforce grammar concepts as it forces you to manipulate the sentence while staying within grammatical rules. Sentence diagramming. Sentence diagramming is a method where you break down a sentence into its parts, subject, verb, object, etc., and analyze the grammar structure. This can be a helpful way to visualize how different parts of speech come together to form a meaningful sentence. For example, the cat, subject, sat, verb, on the mat, object of the preposition. Breaking sentences down like this helps you understand the function of each word and how they work together grammatically. Practice with varied texts. Try reading a variety of materials, such as books, articles, blogs, and social media posts. Each genre uses different sentence structures and tenses. For example, a formal article might use more complex sentence structures and a higher level of grammar, while a casual blog post may use simpler forms and conversational language. Reading a variety of texts helps you see grammar in different contexts and adapt your own language use for different situations. The importance of regular reading practice. The key to improving your grammar through reading is regular practice. Set aside time each day to read something in English. The more you expose yourself to correct grammar usage, the more natural it will feel to use the same grammar in your writing and speaking. You don't have to read long passages every day. Just a few pages or paragraphs can be enough. As you read, try to challenge yourself by looking for grammar structures that you're less familiar with. Over time, you'll see improvements in both your grammar and your ability to communicate more effectively. Final thoughts on reading to reinforce grammar. Reading is one of the most enjoyable and effective ways to reinforce grammar. It exposes you to grammar and context, shows you how sentences are constructed, and helps you internalize the rules without the need for constant drills. By reading regularly and actively engaging with the text, you can improve your grammar in a way that feels natural and effortless. Remember, the key to mastering grammar is consistent practice, and reading provides the perfect opportunity to practice. So, pick up a book, read an article, or explore anything in English, and start noticing the grammar in action. The more you read, the more grammar will become a natural part of your English. In the next chapter, we'll discuss how to apply grammar rules in your writing and how to improve your written communication skills. Keep reading, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Happy reading. Great work today. Every moment you spend practicing brings you closer to mastering your English listening and speaking skills. Remember, progress comes with patience and consistency. If this story inspired you or helped you in your learning journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Easy English Spark channel for more lessons and stories. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep believing in your growth. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and keep shining.